Hey everyone, welcome to the squad. This is the Park Squad Pod, a podcast where four friends catch up and chat about all things Disney, day-to-day life, and more. My name is Brandon, and I am your host for today's episode, and I'm here with the rest of the squad.
I'm Heidi.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Tommy.
And this is our fifth episode, which I feel like is a pretty good milestone. 5 episodes. We've been loving this so far. Favorite day of the week, as Haley and Tommy said. And we're going to be doing some different things on here. We'll talk about some news and some fun stuff that's been going on that Disney has kind of announced or kind of has shared. And then we're going to get into ranking some Hollywood Studios attractions, just like we did for Magic Kingdom. We're going to do all of the parks, and we'll start with Hollywood Studios here today. But first, Tommy's got some news. So Tommy's going to be our little newscaster here and give us all the details.
Anchorman Tommy.
Yeah, anytime I see anything on the internet, I kind of just try and jot it down so we can get started. This is in no particular order, but I think this might be the one we have the least to say about. Disney buys a stake in Epic Games. I think it's $1.5 billion. So, it's a lot of coin. For those who might not know, Epic Games are the people who do Fortnite, which I feel like is kind of a household name there. Even if you don't play it, obviously you kind of still know what it is. They talked about, further integrating Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars with Fortnite itself. I know that's like a pretty big partnership, especially on the Star Wars and Marvel side. But they also talked about developing new games. And I think they had like a 4-word slogan. It was play, shop, create, imagine. I don't know, something like that. It's not exactly that, but something along those lines. I don't know if anyone here, is a big Fortnite player. I know we're not on this side, but definitely kind of interesting. I think the size of the investment alone kind of warrants talking about and sort of, what everyone might think be on the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, billion is a lot of money.
Yo, yeah.
Anything with a B is a ton of money. So yeah, I don't know anything about Fortnite. I know kids love it.
They do.
Like being a teacher, I've heard about it for years and years nonstop. So I think that that's interesting. But do you guys play Fortnite?
We used to play.
We used to quite often actually play. Like Heidi's brothers were big into it, and we would play kind of often, almost every weekend for a little while there.
Yeah.
And I think this is cool because I think that certain movie studios or like IP that have games are super cool. I know when I was younger, I played the Batman Arkham games, and those were cool to see a character that and be able to play the games. And I know recently that Hogwarts game was really big of people kind of being into that world. So I think this is cool. In terms of that, I don't really know what exactly it is. I think some of the words there, like you said, Tommy, are interesting, shop and different things. The picture that it looked like it was almost like a mini Disney World with a bunch of lands, and kind of in the middle there was World of Disney and different things there. So that's kind of interesting what they can kind of do with all that.
Just have a virtual world of Disney where you can go buy Fortnite skins or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely interesting, I think, is the only really word that I feel is apt. Because it wasn't a straightforward we're going to make more video games starring Disney things, and Star Wars is really the only property they have that is entrenched in the video game world, and that's kind of from before the Disney acquisition. I think they, like you said, the way that they kind of structured it as almost like a virtual sort of, I don't know, like
theme park,
like a virtual downtown Disney or something like that could be interesting. It would definitely be nice. I know Fortnite did a bunch of stuff like interactive concerts and around the launch of the most recent Star Wars. It was a lot of tie and stuff like that. So that could be cool. That kind of interactivity. I don't have my hopes up too high, but I think they could do some cool stuff. And I mean, the video game sphere is a large market where I feel like the Disney footprint isn't terribly strong. So it makes sense to at least kind of expand there. But yeah.
I mean, I've been playing Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah.
And so that has Disney characters that you get to interact with and then do different things, which is pretty cool. And I think that obviously being fans of the parks and the movies and things, I think that it's cool to have, like you said, the IP that you can interact with, where Dreamlight Valley is really similar from what I get to Animal Crossing, where it's kind of just one of those cozy games where you have things to do. And I think that adding something that you already know into it is cool. I don't think I would have ever, because I would have never played Animal Crossing because it's just not really, I'm not really a gamer girl. It's not my vibe. But I think that as soon as they put oh, you can play with Wally and Donald and Goofy, then I was oh, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, like, and I don't know, because this was one thing that I saw like online, because I do like to play games. I'm not like a gamer per se also, but like they talked about how like a big thing that Disney really likes, apparently, allegedly, whoever said this, who knows, but that they really like that new like Apple headset thing that they're like doing there. So maybe that's something where with this like shop and explore that you could literally virtually be there. I think if that's kind of where gaming or technology is headed, I think that's cool, and I think could maybe allow for a lot of cool things. Like if you could like slap that headset on and go walk in like downtown Disney and then go see like I don't know, like the Avatar land and different things. Like I
Mhm.
think it'd be cool. So who knows what they can do. I'm excited if they do like more games, because I think like you said, like Disney doesn't have a big like gaming footprint, and if they have more cool fun things, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the headset is a good point. I know the Disney Plus app is one of the few apps on that headset that is like really fleshed out and they can do a lot of cool things. Um, and Epic definitely has just a Scrooge McDuck vault of gold coins from Fortnite. So
Oh yeah.
the sort of potential there is definitely pretty, close to limitless. And yeah, to your point, I mean, I think Disney video games is exciting. They just announced like a Epic Mickey re-release, and people are stoked. So I
Yeah.
think it could be really cool. I think I might be a little bit disappointed though if it's just like an interactive storefront.
But
think
it
I
feels
could
like
be
if you're
bummed out,
putting that
but
much money into it, it kind of has to be cool. Like that's a lot of coins
A
to
lot
put
of
into
money.
something.
yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
would hope, but I guess only time will tell on that one. But pretty exciting. We talked a little bit more than I thought, so fingers crossed that ends up being something we can talk about more down in the future as well. All right, the next one, and I think this one's pretty exciting. Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine, was announced, I believe, during the Super Bowl, like right before the Super Bowl kicked off. It is going to hit theaters on July 26th of this year, 2024. I know there's a lot out there. I don't know how sort of familiar everyone is with kind of the ongoing stuff that's been, leaked and stuff like that. I definitely want to kind of steer away from that for the people who aren't.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of just general excitement levels, feedback,
But you guys
speculation, things
did
you want to see.
a live reaction to
Yep.
the trailer being dropped. So
We
you
did.
guys
We like so I'm stoked. Obviously, I'm like a big Marvel person. I have tried to avoid every possible spoilery thing that I can. I know people are big into seeing like the set photos and all these things, and I'm like, I don't want stuff ruined for me, so I don't go like searching stuff. Sometimes things pop up, but for me, like my favorite character growing up was Wolverine. My dad loved X-Men, and it was one of those things where he'd watch them and I was like, he's so cool. He's just this like wild character that just has these claws, and it's so awesome. So like to have him come back and it still be Hugh Jackman, I love it. I'm not as familiar with like the Deadpool movies. I love Ryan Reynolds though, and I'm excited to see kind of what they do, because I think it's very different than any like Marvel Studios movie yet, because it's going to be R-rated. There's going to be lots of like digs at probably Marvel and Disney and like fun jokes, which I'm excited about. Like, and in the trailer reaction, it was cool to see like different things and hear different things. And I loved like doing it with Heidi, because
I don't know what's happening. No, but I'm excited because I really like Wolverine. Actually, I watched like Logan, which I watched Logan before
you did before I watched Logan. Very good movie.
And I really like that, and I like Hugh Jackman, so I'm excited for that. And just like I feel like I need to go back and watch the other Deadpools and understand what's going on, and then I'll watch this one.
I think it's going to be like a turning point. I think this will be a heavy hitting Marvel movie where it's kind of the only one for this year, and hopefully it does very, very well for Marvel and Disney's sake.
Yeah, and I think that the comedy in it is they're both kind of deadpan. Obviously, Deadpool is supposed to be a little more comedic than Wolverine.
Yeah.
But I think both of them are their humor is super dry, and they just like say things that obviously are funny, but it's just with that deadpan straight face. And so to see those like play off of each other, I think will be really funny.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine are like super entwined with like the comics and stuff like that. Like I know that's a big part of Deadpool's character, sort of outside of the movies, is that he's always kind of messing with Wolverine. So yeah, it will be fun to see him kind of as the straight man to the sort of wackier Deadpool. But yeah, Brandon, to your point, I think it being the only Marvel movie is really kind of telling. Obviously, I think the opinions are kind of split, but I think the general consensus is Marvel has not necessarily been hitting at the same level that it was in the past, especially sort of pre-Endgame and the lead up to that. So I think that this is, really kind of important to set the tone moving forward. we can kind of add this in like with the Fantastic Four casting announcement. Like there's not much to talk about there, but I think that they're really kind of trying to set the tone of what to expect. And it seems like they're kind of moving away from the direction they were going prior to that. So I'm kind of interested to see how that plays out. And
feels
if it's
like they had
successful. They definitely
they kind of they backed themselves into a corner there. They couldn't really stay with what they were working with.
They're like, we got to bring in like the X-Men, Wolverine, and Deadpool, and then Daddy Pedro to be Reed Richards. It's like they got to do all these things, which I think is cool. And I think that it's one of those things where sometimes studios or people like high up don't really like listen to fans all the time because they're like, oh, like if people don't like it, then whatever. But we're proud of it and happy with it. Whereas I think this is kind of like a shift of like, we know what people want, and now is the time, and it's we kind of got to build this back up. And I think that's going to be crucial for them. So I'm excited.
It just seems like they didn't really have a choice, to be honest.
Oh, for sure.
Recently, everyone's just been like hating on all the movies that are coming out. So hopefully this is like a reset button and people can like start to be excited about it again.
Yeah. And if there's anything to put some butts in seats, it's Deadpool, Wolverine, I think. So we'll see.
And I think that the casting, I think that they threw a lot of money at that casting, and I think it's a good group for all of it.
Yeah. I mean, those two are super charismatic, and
but even Fantastic Four, I think, was great.
Yeah. But no, I think that's, and this isn't like it's like kind of a separate note, but I mean, they just recently also scrapped like Kang Dynasty and stuff like that. So it's pretty clear that they're moving in a new direction. I'm excited to see what y'all think about Deadpool as well. I think the first two are pretty fun, but it's definitely like a different tone. It's clearly a separate entity. So
it's adult humor.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to mend that in, or if they kind of just smash cut, be like, hey, this is what the movie is, and then we'll set you up moving forward. But
what else is in the news?
Yeah, more movie related news. We had a announcement for Moana 2, the sequel to the excellent Moana from I think 2017. That is set to be released on November 27th of this year, 2024. I didn't have a ton of like notes about this one, but there is a little bit more around it. Versus Deadpool, I wanted to call out a couple things. One, that Lin-Manuel Miranda will not be returning to Moana 2. And also, this was originally slated to be a Disney Plus series, and it was kind of converted into a theatrical release feature film. So sort of any thoughts on either of those two topics, or Moana 2 in general, sort of excitement level, stuff like that?
Yeah, I feel like it's super exciting, obviously, and like kind of like unexpected, but it makes me, because of that, it like makes me nervous of like the fact that like it was supposed to be a TV show. The turnaround is like now so quick, and it's like, it's almost like here it is, and like hopefully it's good. And I just really hope that it like lives up to the expectation of the first one, and it's not just like a rush, like, oh, let's just do it to like make some money and that's all. Like, I don't know.
No, for
not
sure.
to be like negative about it, but it makes me nervous.
But it's also like it's so popular. Like Moana is such a popular thing where it's honestly kind of on the level of like a Frozen. Like people love it so much. Like every time that you see like the most like streamed movies of the year, it's like Moana is always on there. It just like it does so well. I think that I was more shocked because they announced like a live action and stuff, and it was like, we're gonna do live action, and now they're doing like a sequel. Like, and I honestly totally forgot about a Disney Plus series. I knew that they were doing like a Tiana one because that was one that kind of came up in the news like one day when I was kind of like looking at like some stuff, but like it was kind of shocking to have that come out. Like, I know Haley that you love Moana, so this maybe
love Moana.
Yeah, very interesting for you.
I think I agree. I mean, I know I agree with both of you. I am afraid that they're just going to have made a couple episodes and then splice them together into a movie. But then part of me also hopes that maybe they were going to make episodes and they're like, oh, really, this story flows as a movie. And so they just never cut. Like I'm hoping that they went to write each episode and then went, oh, this works way better as a feature film instead of as a series. And then they just scrapped it, but weren't ready to tell the world.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they kind of had this in their books and we're planning this for longer than obviously they've announced, because November is so soon. I think it's good timing. I don't think that Disney does a great job with when they release movies. I think that Thanksgiving is perfect. I think that the kids are off of school, that people will actually go to the movies and watch it. It's starting to get cold. You want to get cozy. Like, I think that the release date is great, but I'm also nervous because I think that the reason why Moana is so popular is because the songs slap. Like the music is top tier, and not having Lin-Manuel Miranda in it, I think will hurt. But at the same time, his music is so recognizable that all of it starts to kind of sound similar.
Yeah.
So I think that it might be a good chance to get some new sounding Disney music.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of souring on Lin-Manuel, and I'm not immune to that either. I tried to,
But I do love him.
yeah, I tried to find who is continuing to work on it. There's a couple women, I don't remember their name, but they did like a Bridgerton musical, I think. And then there's a guy, I think Mark Messina is his name, something similar to that, worked on the first Moana. So there is some carryover. It's just Lin-Manuel. Yeah, I'm kind of split minds on this one. Finding out that it is converted from a series, I think definitely was initially pretty concerning to me. But as I kind of think about their sort of content strategy since the rollout of Disney Plus, they've been really, really heavy into pumping their big IPs into Disney Plus, whether it be Star Wars, like Marvel, they tried to make it so you had to, split your time between the theaters and Disney Plus. And even with some of the other Disney animation properties like Zootopia and Big Hero 6, they got kind of shorts on Disney Plus, and this kind of just seemed like a more fleshed out one. So I wonder if, they were kind of in a space where they were using their big IPs in Disney Plus and then trying to do some new stuff with the theatrical releases like Strange New World and Wish, which weren't very successful at all. And, it might just be kind of a combination of, A, this story could have worked as a movie either way, and B, we kind of need a big theatrical release. Because even the first Moana isn't super like straightforward. Like there's the whole sequence with the coconut men, and they go to the spooky monster
The
place. So,
Hackamora.
like it is kind of structured like a Homer's
That's
The
true.
Odyssey, where they go like place to place and have little adventures. So I don't have a ton of concern there, but it will definitely be jarring, I think, if we show up to theaters and it's very clearly a Disney Plus series that it's been had the commercial breaks cut out. But
Maybe we'll get to see a sneak peek of it when we go to
That's what I'm thinking. I think this is going to be a big D23 now thing.
Yeah.
Because like usually Disney does kind of like release around this time. Like Encanto was kind of around that time, and then like Wish was as well last year. So it's like hopefully this is something where they show us maybe part of it, and then we'll have like a fun idea of like, okay, this looks cool, because really all we kind of got for this announcement was like her kind of blowing into a shell, right? That was like the thing.
Yeah.
So we were all prepared, me and Heidi on our end, for like the Super Bowl. We're like, we're gonna get a Moana trailer. Let's like sit down and film it. So we were like prepared, and then we just didn't, which is
No,
like,
what is
fair,
it?
because
17 seconds.
yeah, it's like her feet, and then it's her grabbing her little conch shell and then blowing into it, and then it's like a silhouette of her on the island, and it's over.
Maybe at D23 we'll get a song. That would be
maybe too.
awesome to just have a clip of a song to know what the vibes are going to be.
Agree. Yeah. And all I want is for my big favorite guy to come out on this stage with that nice bald head and say, I'm here from Moana 2, and I'll be so happy for Mr.
Yeah,
DeVos
and the live action.
Yeah, just like give it to us all.
Yeah.
So I think that's
maybe
exciting.
It'll be a heavy D23.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think this will be cool. And I think if they're like, I know that people are kind of, which is like so weird to me. Like people don't like the new ideas, but then are down on sequels. So it's like, where are we at? Exactly. So I think that even if people are sad about Frozen 3 and Moana 2 and Zootopia 2, it's like, these are things that people love. So then if you're down on sequels, but down on like original stuff, then what are we supposed to do? So I think this will be a good little stretcher, hopefully, of some things that people love, and we'll kind of get them back into like trusting Disney again to like put out some good stuff.
And on that, I think that the sequels are gonna bring in money, and you get good ideas the more money you have. You can pay like the idea people, you can pay those like animators or whomever. And if you're not making any money on your movies, you cannot pay to have great ideas.
Exactly.
And so I think like pushing out things that you know will do well and bring money in is the only way that you're going to get good new ideas.
Yeah. Maybe I'm giving them a little bit too much credit because their track record as of late has been a little shaky. But I feel like, Brandon, like you mentioned off the top, Moana is so popular that you kind of have to be very careful with that. That intellectual property, and you really have to nail it, especially if you're going to be rolling something out in the theaters.
And you just put stuff into a park with it.
And I mean, people were saying the same stuff about like it's a different studio, but Toy Story 4, they were like, oh, we don't need this, like another sequel, and it made $1 billion and it was like really good. So I think it could be a similar situation where once we get closer, we do get more excited. And I think the release window is perfect because. I mean, Migration made like $100 million domestic, and just because nothing else is out. Like Wonka made all the money. Like,
Duck all around.
No, it's true.
So
And
if you
it's
have
also
good-
one of like it's one of those things where like people want to watch stuff like on Disney Plus, so you have to have things to get them to actually go see it like in a theater, because
Mhm.
that's where you make your money from, is from like movies doing well like in a theater. So this is the perfect thing, like at the perfect time to say it's the holiday season almost.
Yeah.
Let's go into the theater and watch Moana 2.
Yeah, they almost have to retrain, sort of the audience after kind of giving them everything on Disney Plus. They're like, oh no, like the big ones are still going to be in theaters first.
Yeah.
You have to make
Well,
a
you
trip
have to make it worth
the
it.
Cineplex. Yeah, exactly.
It's
And
so
that's why I think
expensive
you
for a
roll out-
family of 5 to go to the
Yeah.
movies.
You roll
gotta
out
make
your
it worth
Frozen
it.
3s, your Inside Out 2, your Moana 2. You really have to say, Disney movies are movie theater movies.
Right.
They're not
Yeah.
just on Disney Plus. So
Love
I
it.
agree.
cool. Related, I think she got mentioned earlier in this discussion, but there was some new news about Tiana's Bayou Adventure, a release or an opening window, I should say, of summer 2024. Summer, like fiscal summer, is always kind of weird. I think it's like July to September or something like that. It's not the sort of traditional
School summers.
school year summer,
Yeah.
of like June to August. I didn't look a ton at this, but I did see that there was the Tiana animatronic that looked like the sort of face, like
from Shanghai.
yeah, it's not like face
Yeah.
mapping, but the sort of similar one to Shanghai, opposed to the sort of projection that you have on the Frozen Adventure. And then also kind of just seeing pictures throughout of, added greenery and running water and really kind of the vibe and the aesthetic of the ride coming through. I didn't watch the interview with, I think it was like an artist from New Orleans kind of talking about it. I don't know if either of you did. But yeah, I think I'm really excited for this. And the more it kind of reveals, the more, the less I'm sad about Splash Mountain, I think.
Yeah, I'm stoked because I'm going to be down there as a cast member, and I'm hoping that there'll be cast member previews a little early. So if you guys are interested, hopefully that's a thing, and I'll be like, hey, here's my window. I got one. Let's go ride.
Yeah, we're only a
Let's ride.
short-ish car ride away.
Yeah.
And I'm off all summer, so
Haley's like,
count
I'm
me
making
in.
it work. But I'm excited about this. I think that it's one of those things where, like, I think that they're not, well, even if they are kind of like in a way half doing it where it's like an existing ride, but they're rechanging it. I think that they're like actually putting the care into it, and it looks really good. And I like how they're doing that with like the animatronic. And I was laughing because Heidi brought this out to me the other day, where they showed like the ride vehicle and they just kind of like popped off like that Brer Rabbit at the front, and
everyone in
people
the
were like,
comments, I show Brandon because everyone in the comments were like, oh my gosh, like you're showing these new ride vehicles, but they're just the same ones, blah 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 blah. And it's just so funny because it's like I feel like people, if they remade them, people would be like, oh, I miss Splash Mountain. And then if they don't, they're like, oh, they're not even making the ride new. And it's like, also, is that even the final like thing of it? Probably not.
exactly.
So,
So I'm
And
excited.
also, it's a log flume.
Yeah, creating
Yeah.
a new log
Like,
is so silly.
These have been around forever at every
Yeah.
amusement park, like on
Yeah.
the planet.
Yeah, they
like
should have
our
just said that they made new ones and just rolled the old ones out again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like like this one looks like it's like oak wood. We wanted birch wood, like
Yeah.
or something. It's like it's a
yeah,
lot.
it's not authentic to a bayou. This is more for a Brer patch. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it is.
what?
Cypress.
So,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know,
so
but I'm
silly.
excited.
Silly.
Yeah.
She's one of my favorites, and I love that movie. And I think that it's like a really cool style of how they're gonna do it. And I like how there's gonna be like new songs and all the characters in there. I can't wait to see that big like Lewis animatronic. Like I think that'll be cool. So I'm excited to ride this one.
and the cool thing is like it's a ride that was like a long ride. Like
It's long,
it's
yeah.
long.
Mhm.
So it's like it's not like they took away Splash and gave Tiana like a ride that was like short and
Yeah.
like not very intricate. Like it's a ride where they can really like work with it. So
I'm excited.
it's exciting.
And I think that the fact that it's not new ride vehicles is why it's opening so soon.
Yeah.
They don't have to redo the track for the new
True.
ride vehicles. Like that's just like
Mhm.
not how it works. But also you said with like a series coming out,
Yeah.
it would be cool if they could cross some of that over.
For sure.
Like use some of the
yeah.
songs from the ride in the series, or use
For
some of
sure.
the things that happen in the series in the ride.
Agreed.
And then you make it like if you watch the series, you want to go ride the ride. If you ride the ride, you want to go watch the series.
Yeah,
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 that's
that'd
good.
be cool. The main thing I'm excited about is that big Lewis animatronic, though.
Yes.
The skeleton of it, his big old crocodile smile.
And his
He
big
looks-
old belly.
Yeah, he looks awesome. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, I do hope that it is like obviously the quality of animatronic is going to be high, but one of the big things that I enjoyed about Splash Mountain is like the amount and the number
Yes.
of scenes that are there.
For sure.
But it sounds like they have fleshed out a story so that they'll sort of be required to sort of fill those gaps. I would be very surprised if it's kind of
Like
Yeah.
you ride through and it's
you're
just like you're riding through
a
the bayou
swamp.
for a while.
Yeah, I don't think that's probably going to be the case. And
Yeah.
it's
No, I
it's
think it
definitely
looks
exciting,
great.
I think
It looks good.
it has exceeded my expectations. I was definitely not overly excited, but I also wasn't overly down. But I think the closer we get, the more excited I am, and the more we see, the more I'm like, oh wow, they're really kind of nailing this, and for it to be out so soon is definitely exciting.
This is another one that I felt like they had to nail because so many people were so upset.
Mhm.
So I think that if you give them like a mediocre replacement for something that they loved, they would be so upset and like kind of
Yeah.
lose faith. And
For
so
sure.
I think I think it's the same thing with the Country Bear revamp. If you're gonna revamp something that people love, you have to do it right.
Yeah, like and also like she's a character that people love. So like if you're gonna bring her into the park, like you better do her justice and give her something good. So I think that it is a good thing. Like we kind of talked about with like the Epic Universe thing, when there's like a pressure on you to do something well, I think that you most often do a good job. Like and I like to think that Disney will with a character like this who people love, and like yeah, like a ride that you said that people loved as well. Like I think they kind of have to nail it. Like, and I'm just hoping that maybe again, any Pecos, Bills, or whatever fans out there, but I would love if they change that into some
Oh yeah.
Tiana's like place. I think would be so great.
The
So
only thing that's
hopefully-
tough is that New Orleans food is heavy and
Mhm.
hot.
That's true.
And so figuring out how to do that, like you can do that in California.
True.
I think it's hard to do in Orlando. No one's
true.
ordering jambalaya and gumbo in
Yeah.
August.
I mean, Pecos Bills is like walking tacos and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but it's
too,
got,
so the
like, fresh
translation isn't
vegetable.
Crazy, yeah.
Then I just want a beignet. Give me a beignet and I'll be
Yeah,
happy.
I think
In the
those should
park.
stay around forever.
Keep those around.
Yeah.
All right, is that it for the news?
Yeah,
We're
that
good
was
on the news.
No, yeah, that was the news for the last 2 weeks. So a lot of
Okay.
exciting stuff. Probably more to come on most of them, and we can sort of
Yeah.
discuss as we get a better idea, especially on like Moana 2 or sort of what they're doing.
When that trailer
Yeah,
drops,
with
that'll
Epic
be
Games,
exciting.
and yeah, the trailer as well. So yeah, definitely some exciting stuff, and it's really nice to have exciting news in the Disney world, especially after
Yeah.
talking about Universal for like 45 minutes last week. It's nice to
Seriously.
get back to our roots a little bit.
Yeah.
No, for sure. This was great. Like I love chatting news, and I'm glad that now we can kind of transition into my favorite park and a park that I worked at. That's why like I was excited that we're going to do Hollywood Studios attractions here today, because this is a place that's near and dear to my heart. And if you missed our episode, I guess now 2 weeks ago, we
Mhm.
did all of the attractions. There was like how many, Haley? Like Haley probably did.
Oh gosh,
There's
there was like 2 full notebook pages, two
Yeah,
and a half.
Magic Kingdom has
Yeah.
tons of stuff, and Haley went through it like land by land. We gave our gut reaction 0 to 100 on everything. Things got kind of crazy. Sometimes it was like a shocking, like
Someone had
laugh
some hot
or-
takes.
yeah, oh yeah.
Hayden.
You over there had some tough like
Yeah.
carousel of progress, and then we
You
had
hit it
laugh
on a
floor
certain
high,
one.
and they were like 94, like all these things. So I'm sure maybe there'll be some of these, but I think that this is a park that doesn't have as many, but I think that the quality of them is very high, like, and maybe ones that we all love collectively together. So we should kind of get into this, and we'll start off in order on the attractions list. Like it'll all be kind of alphabetical, and we're not going to do character meet and greets and those things because those aren't really like attractions. They're just character meet and greets. But the first one is Alien Swirling Saucers, and I guess we can kind of go.
We have to. I'm not starting first.
Yeah, we
I'll
gotta
go
go
first. I'll go
Yeah,
first.
there you go.
I'll
So-
take that.
So we'll go Haley,
right.
Tommy, and then maybe myself, and you can go last.
Sure.
There we go.
I'm giving Swirling Saucers a 65.
86.
78.
50.
Wow, pretty wide range. But Haley, what do you think about this one?
That was
I'm-
surprising.
yeah, I may have gone
Yeah.
a little low, but sometimes it's a long wait and the ride isn't like I would never wait for it. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm going on if it's a 15-minute wait. And at
Right.
Christmas, I'm giving it like a 95
So good.
because they
30-point
do,
jump.
yeah, they do the overlay. It's so worth it. But I do think it's underrated. We didn't do it until a couple years ago, and if you haven't done it, it's worth it, but not for like an hour wait.
No, that's a little bit too long. Yeah, I would agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, Tommy
No, I-
had it the highest.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's so fun. I think it's super underrated. I think like the music is fun, like kind of going back and forth. The sort of Cars iteration in Disneyland is good as well.
Mhm.
I do wish the cast members had a little dance like they do with the
In
Baymax one in Japan.
Japan.
Is so fun. But no, it's the vibes are great, and when you can catch it with like a short line and just hop right on, it's the best. It's like long. It's it's fun. I love the little green aliens. I have a soft spot in my heart for them, so that's probably
Yeah.
plays a factor as well. But no, I like that ride a lot. I think it goes under the radar with a lot of people, but I think if you can catch it with like a even like a 25-30 minute wait, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I think that this one kind of does get like a lot of hate, and everybody down there, like every time that I talk about this ride, they would give it the acronym of like alien swirling saucers. You can piece that together, like all of the listeners. But I don't agree. I think that it's like so fun. I laugh every time. I love how when me and Heidi ride, I kind of squash her up against the side. I think is yeah, like it's just it's one of those that I just love. And I think that it's really cool how it is like the aliens. And I love just the whole thing when they're like, ooh, and you have been chosen. Like it's just so fun. So yeah, for me, it's a good time.
I've said 50. I don't really know why. I just really started very abruptly and I got nervous. And everyone said they're nervous very quickly. I like the ride. It's not that I dislike it. I just feel like it's not like my favorite. If I never had to ride it again, I wouldn't be sad about it. So I guess that's why I put in the middle of like, it's not the best, it's not the worst. It's just like the middle.
That's fair.
Fine
That makes
ride.
sense.
With kids, I feel like it'd be fun. I like the music part of it. But again, if I never had to ride it again, I would be okay with that too.
That's fair. So we're gonna kind of hop around here then, because we're not gonna stick. Haley did a much better job where she went land by land. I'm just reading off the list.
I closed with a stinker though, so it's okay.
Next, we're moving all the way down to Sunset Boulevard, and we're gonna do Beauty and the Beast live on stage, which is one that we maybe don't frequent as often. Heidi, I don't think has ever done, but we'll see what the squad has to say.
42.
61.
I'll say 50.
I've never done it, but I'll say 25 because that's what I do when I've never done it, and I don't think it's. I'll come back to it later.
I think that this is one of those where I don't know if it's because I don't love to sit outside in an amphitheater during the day that I don't maybe do it as often, but I do know that when I did do it, like I loved seeing like those kind of underrated characters that you never see, like Lumiere and all those guys. They're like huge, big, tall guys coming running out, which I think is fun, but it's just not something that we frequent often, and I think we should probably try out again one time just to see like what it is. I know that it's probably just like a retelling almost of Beauty and the Beast, but like I do like think that it was kind of okay when we did it last time.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a little bit long. I think sitting on like the metal bleachers, like you said, outside is like not ideal. I think with kids it would be tough to have them in there the whole time because it is pretty long. But the music and stuff is cool. And like Mrs. Potts with her little feet at the bottom is always funny. Like Chip has like little feet that stick out in the bottom of his cup. It's very funny. But I couldn't tell you the last time we did it.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. I don't know when the last time we did it was, but I remember enjoying it enough. And I just really like the Beauty and the Beast. So I think you just get, some of the best bits of that movie. I think, it's worth a stage show. I might have gone a little high because it's been forever, but I just remember being like, yeah, it was fun. And I walked past, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure that'd be fun. We haven't done it in forever, but it would be okay.
It's hard to catch things with times.
Yeah,
I think
that's true.
It is very hard. And I think that there's ones like, and there's one on here that we'll get to later that we always like to do as I've like lately, like the later show of this one thing. And I think this one, maybe the shows aren't as late because they have to get ready for Fantasmic and stuff. I know like the cast members who work there also work Fantasmic. So to kind of like swap around, I think then they kind of have to be like, okay, now we're switching to Fantasmic seating and like and all that stuff. So I think maybe that's kind of why, where it's like during the day you're riding rides and cranking them out. But yeah, maybe we'll have to give this a go one time because you've never done it. Yeah.
I don't know when I'm
True.
going. Hopefully it's still around by the time I go back.
True. Well, the next one is maybe something that none of us have ever done as well, and it's the Disney Junior Play and Dance over in Animation Courtyard, which features all of your favorite characters like Doc McStuffins and Mickey Mouse is over there. Timon.
Nancy.
Yeah, they're all over there hanging out, having a good time with the kiddos. But what do you guys think?
Personally, I'm gonna have to go 15 before kids.
I'm gonna give it a 30.
I'm gonna give it a 20.
I'm gonna give it a 12.
We're all kind of in the same ballpark.
It's one of those you cannot go as an adult.
No, you can't go as an adult, but the characters are so funny to me. Like Doc McStuffins is so hilarious to me. Vampirina, so funny.
Yeah. Like I think
and I'm just like, that's hilarious. Like
I agree.
Like a character that exists.
I think that this is of those kind of kid-centric, like talking to characters or hanging out with characters. This is the one that you absolutely cannot do as an adult by yourself.
You can put on a list.
Yes.
Yeah. You could get away with going to like Enchanted Tales with Belle and Turtle Talk. But if I showed up there on my college program one day and said, I'm going to go check out the Disney Junior Dance Party, I don't think that
People
that's
would huddle their kids away from you, like the 6'10" man walking in alone.
yeah. So I think that maybe this will be like one of those that we kind of touched on with kids. I'm sure kids have a ball in here, just like
Oh,
dancing
for
around,
sure.
letting out energy. I know that every time that I would have to go to work, I'd have to walk past like Fancy Nancy and Doc McStuffins,
Mhm.
and they'd always wave because there's like nobody over there. But I love that. Like I agree, Tommy. They're so funny to me. So hopefully
And
this
it's
will be something fun.
inside, it's air
Yeah.
conditioned.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
and kids love those dance parties. Like
Oh,
whenever
yeah.
they do like especially like the holiday party ones, they do them
With
over in
Stitch.
and like the Storybook
Yes.
Circus. Those kids are going nuts. They're going bananas. They have so much fun. So I can
Yeah.
only imagine like
It's like kids at a wedding.
yeah, you catch them on a good day. Like maybe you're slowing down, but the kids still have a ton of energy. You get them in there with Vampirina, and they just jump around for 45 minutes like that. It'll
And
shoot up to like a 99 on my list. If that's the case.
Disney's DJs are top tier.
Oh yeah.
Like those like
They're bumping.
MCs that like get them moving, like they are so high energy and fun that I
Yeah.
might, if I were to revote, I would probably vote higher because of the DJs and stuff.
When we have kids, we'll have to go back and redo
Please.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say that everybody talks about like getting rid of that area, but like this is just like I'm sure this is like a kid fan favorite. Like they gotta go do this one. So if they did ever redo Animation Courtyard, they'd probably have to move this one somewhere else or like keep it
Yeah.
around because I'm sure kids
Or
love
just
this
like
one and will
like rotate them, like have
True.
different dance parties like with
Yeah,
different
yeah.
characters. That would be fun. But
love
all
it.
right.
We're gonna now move on. Like, and I'm gonna put this one in here. It's not like an attraction, but it's a show, and it is a nighttime show there. Which, like, I know last time we didn't do Happily Ever After, but I feel like for this park, we got to touch on this one here
A
because
little
I'm
bit of-
biased.
Yeah, I'm biased.
And it's
for sure.
Fantasmic, which is one show that I will sit on a bench all night for.
97.
Yeah, 98.
No, it's me. Sorry. I was just like smiling, being like my favorite. I'm gonna say 99.
I'm gonna say 100.
Wow, we're all around the same. The first 100 ever given on these.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah,
High
I think
praise.
the reason I give 100 is because I feel like with the upgrades at Walt Disney World, like it really impressed me a lot. And like, what would I really change? Honestly, like
The seating.
nothing.
Yeah,
Maybe, okay, the seating.
for me, that's the
That's
only
why I
reason that
took
I gave
3.
it. Same.
Okay.
I took 1
Fair
for the
enough.
chair. That's
My
it.
bum is so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I don't got
that's
a
it.
lot of cushion back there, and so when I sit, it's just like bone right on
Bone
like
to metal.
aluminum.
Yeah, I think the water projection sequence goes a
true.
little too long for me.
That's true.
I like it. I think it's cool. Like World of Color is only that, and that
Mhm.
gets real fast. But I think it's pretty good in Fantasmic. But it's a little too long. Like if you catch it at the end of a long day, I'm kind of just like, all right, like let's
Yeah.
get it moving a little
Yeah.
bit. But
Give me a character scaling a mountain. Get
yeah,
this out of here.
I enjoy most of it, but sometimes by the time it's over, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm excited to get on to the good stuff, the meat and potatoes of the show. But
Yeah.
obviously, it's fantastic either way.
That will probably be our highest of all of them, I think.
This is one thing for me that I think if that I had to recommend someone to do one thing, I think this is like probably very near the top. Like this is one thing that just like to me, like, and I got to watch it like very often working there, but I just think this has so many like elements, like you said, like there's the water, there's like the people up there doing stuff, scaling mountains, running it like through water, there's a boat full of characters, there's a dragon, like there's so many things, and it's long, and like even though like the seats aren't great, like at least you do get to sit down and you don't have to
Mhm.
like push and shove to get in like a good spot or wait out. Like I know that you probably could wait to get a better seat, but usually most times like you're going to get a seat somewhere and still enjoy the show. So for me, the only knock that I took 1 point was the seating, but like
Yeah.
other than that, the show is just
And the
perfect,
music's good,
amazing.
and they have snacks. So
True.
like
Right
dad
up there,
can grab a
yeah.
beer, the kids can have popcorn and a pretzel.
agree.
And
No,
then,
yeah, I think it's like everything you could ask for from a Disney parks like show nighttime spectacular situation. Like it's got a little bit of fireworks. It has like original music. It has some
Yeah.
carryover music from the movies.
Mhm.
It has characters from the movies, but it's doing a story that is kind of individual to the show itself, and it's not like retreading anything from any of the movies. Yeah, I think it's
yeah,
great.
it is top tier.
Yeah, and I'm excited to compare to the Disneyland version.
too.
See what we think, because I think that'll be cool. Because that one's not any seating; it's just you kind of stand around. So we'll see if that maybe
But they
changes.
sell little bench
They do.
cushions, or they used to at least, which I
Yeah.
think Disney
Yeah.
World should do.
That
Agree.
construction is fun, right? Because it was so congested
Yeah,
in
I
that
think
area
so.
when we were
Yeah.
there, but I think it's going to be better. So
Oh
I
yeah,
was a little worried about that, but I think it'll be okay.
we'd be slinging those little seats at our store. at Disney
Yeah, that's what I'm
World, for
saying.
sure.
Like if you sold those little ones that just clip and they have the butt and the back, I think people would pay $25 a piece for them.
I agree. I'm with you, Haley. Send it in. Let them know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stand outside of like World Drive and just like sell them like people do, like scalpers do at like
outside of-
baseball games.
Phantasmic
Makes
seats.
sense.
So funny.
Just
And the
draw
next
a Mickey
one,
head on
Mickey
it.
Mickey Mouse
Seriously.
figures, yeah.
over some sports logo that you could buy down there. Exactly. The next one is another show, and it's I think one of our favorites is the I'm going to read the whole title. For the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration.
90.
84.
95.
92.
Okay.
It's so good.
It's
It's
so
so
good. And you got to go to the late show.
That's
6
why-
p.m. late
yeah.
show. Oh, it is one thing that I think now has become something where if I don't do it, I'd be sad that I didn't do it.
It's one of the
so
things
good.
that I cry at Disney World. Like just like everyone's so happy and then the snow comes down and like everyone's singing. It's just like so like warm and fuzzy.
It's
Yeah.
good. And it's oh sorry, go ahead. No, go.
No, I was just saying it's been a while since we did it. I think I would probably enjoy it more if like I had a more recent experience with it. I think when we did it, I was more like super ride heavy and I was kind of just wanting to go. And then I was like, all right, like I have to kind of stop and watch this Frozen musical. And I like Frozen, but I'm
The
not that into
historians are so
Frozen.
funny.
But even still, I gave it an 84 because it is good. It's funny. Like obviously, like all the music carryover is good. The characters are fun to be around. So
Yeah.
The historians are
Oh yes, if you get a really good little duo where they've worked like a lot together and they know their stuff, like it was just like that most recent time that we did it
Yeah.
was hilarious. It was like
Well, and I don't remember ever being that funny, like, because I was more so in the boat of like,
because we
kind of
did
like
it.
Tommy was explaining, like
Yeah.
when I would go on it, I'm kind of like, oh, like, and I like Frozen, but I'm just like, okay, whatever. But when we went to the late night shows, like it was so funny. I would go watch that like all night. It's hilarious.
And it was just like the jokes of like every time that Kristoff comes out, everybody's like, woohoo! Like they just love them some Kristoff. And then like, yeah, like it's so good. And I think for me, it's just one of those that it's like in the AC, you can go sit down, even though like there are lots of people in there, there's always still good seats. Like you always get a seat.
Mhm.
And especially that late show, that's my tip. Go to that like last show. It's like the Frozen After Dark almost. It's like so cool. They do more adult humor, which is great.
Mhm.
We went one time with my cousin and she was
I
like
love this story so much.
she was like 8 and she like was having it's the first and only time she's ever been to Disney World. She's like having a blast, but she's like wanted to be cool, like because we were
Right.
there. And obviously she's like 14 now, so it was a while ago. And so we're in this, she's grinning ear to ear. Like I think my mom, when we went, like bought her like an Elsa dress, like it was the whole thing. And so she's smiling, having like such a good time watching it. And we're like, Mary, are you having fun? She goes, and just like totally drops her face and just shakes her head no, even though she was literally just like grinning ear to ear, having so much fun. We acknowledged the fact that she was enjoying it and she just straight faced and shook her head no.
No, I'm having fun. Yeah, and
What
was
the
like
heck?
the happiest human being on the planet Earth. 3
But
seconds
now it's
prior.
like we talked about a lot of times that rides are experience dependent. Like if you had
Yeah.
like a good experience and they're like a funny story, it will always remind me of that. And I just like the
it was so funny. I couldn't believe
That's
it.
hilarious. And it's like the too cool. It's like, no, I'm not
and
enjoying
she's
it.
Yeah.
8. Like she
Yeah,
was
she was
it
8. Yeah,
was
she was
like
8
the
years old.
prime time to be at Disney for your first
Aw.
time.
I
Yeah,
love
and it
it.
was what like 2018 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like still pretty close to like the first Frozen. Like we were still very much in the heyday. You were hearing "Let It Go" on the radio. Like it was
Right.
still in full swing.
Oh gosh, it was so funny.
So good. Well, this is another show. I know that we're kind of in the shows, but don't worry, we're gonna get some heavy hitting rides here soon. This is the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
38.
Oh, 81.
We never go.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Yeah, 60.
I've never done it. I really wanted to do it. Like
Yeah, why don't you
for
so bad?
trips to before, and I don't know why we've never done it. So 50, I'll say.
I honestly don't know why that we do never do it, but Tommy, you can enlighten us on
know.
why it's so great.
Yeah, I mean it has some issues. I think the waiting, like you have to get in line pretty early. The seating I remember is not great, but it's just like a really cool stunt show, and it's one of the few sort of carryovers from like the old days of Hollywood studios that everyone always is pining for.
Right.
But no, it's cool. I mean, like I like Indiana Jones, so I think I'm already kind of bought into the concept a little bit. But yeah, they replicate some cool stunts. They do, like stunt fighting, stunt acrobatics and stuff like that. I think it's just a really cool showcase of like special effects and choreography and stuff like that. And it's pretty unique, especially nowadays at the Disney parks. You don't get a ton of like stunt work like that as much.
I think for me, it's like if you've done it once in the last 5 years, I just don't feel the need to do it again because it is the same bits, the same comedy, the same,
Right.
like, you know what I mean? You know
Yeah,
what's coming next. It's
Yeah.
like rewatching a movie.
I think that maybe for me, like on my own personal end, I don't know too much about like Indiana Jones. So for me, maybe it's just like I don't have that connection to it. But also I don't know like if it's the same anymore. Maybe since COVID they changed it. But like they used to bring people down and stuff. Is that still like a thing, or they haven't really like done that? I'm not too sure. Like I know that I enjoyed it because I'm pretty sure that my cousin got picked to go down, and it was like something where they did something with like the people from the crowd, which was cool. But I think, like you said, Tommy, to have something that's like the homage to what kind of studios was and like supposed to be, I think is like cool to keep it around, and hopefully we'll get to do it, Heidi, at some point.
I'm sure it'll
yeah.
still be there. I don't
I
think it's
agree.
going anywhere.
Yeah.
For sure. The next one on our list is Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy.
62.
55.
I'm gonna go 70.
50.
Okay. I like this solely because the animatronic is so cool.
So
Yeah,
good.
animatronic's cool.
It is so cool. And this is like another one where I feel awkward going in because it's mostly for children. But I would love to go there just to watch like him up there. And like I love like the screens around. And I love kind of how like those characters like play off of each other. So I think maybe this will have to be one that I redo because I didn't get to do it like on my program or like on our trip. And I would like to go do it again just to see that cool like animatronic up there.
And they have the cars outside, like
Yep.
the ones that you can, it's kind of like a photo op. I think that because it's tucked away, but like in a corner by itself, I think it does not get acknowledged enough because if you're a little kid parent who can't go on Rock and Roller Coaster, you're not even going back there unless you know it's
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
I think that it's poorly placed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that we didn't do for a long time, even though we're kind of like park completionists in a sense, just because, we didn't have the awareness or like didn't know what it was. And it's a cute time. Lightning McQueen is pretty good. I don't have a connection to like the piston cup side of cars. I more have one to the radiator spring side of cars.
Right.
I think that's like sort of more where my interest is. But if you're like, if you're a 9-year-old boy or girl or whatever, and you just love like cars that go fast, it's like a blast. It's the coolest thing ever.
And he's like alive up there.
And you're talking to him. Like it's definitely a cool experience. It's just, not necessarily something I would carve out like time out of my day to do, but
I think a character like that to be alive is cooler than any other because it literally is exactly what you see on the screen because it's just an animated car and you get the exact same thing that's moving and talking.
Yeah, it translates like 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, and he's like he's got like the tires are spinning. He's going for like it looks so real. Like, and I know that like in the third movie he does like a training thing with that kind of idea of like him being on a thing with like the screen, and I think that's kind of what the like homage is to it, which I think is cool to see that, like you said, Haley, like it's like right from the movie, which is cool.
Yeah, for me it's another one of those like, oh, I'm happy to go do it, but like it's not one that I have to do it all the time. And I think for like kids it would be like really cool to go
for sure. All right, we're getting into now. Here we go. Some heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
88.
89.
90.
85.
We're all kind of in the same. My only knock on this is a couple things, I guess. The queue, now knowing what Disneyland has. I would love that. And I know that like originally, apparently in the scene when you have like the tornado, you were supposed to be like lifted up and then come back down was like the original plan of like the tornado was going to like lift your train vehicle up. And then there was like a room up there or something. And then you would come back down and they
like
kind of
Rise kind of.
And then they kind of scrapped that. I'm not sure if it was a cost thing or just like that building can't like hold that, but I think that could have been cool. Not that it's like a big knock, but I think for me it's mostly just like the queue because that is one of my favorite rides at Walt Disney World.
I do think now that you said that, the tornado room is super underwhelming. It's the worst room
by far.
It's just black, and then you just look at a tornado like to your left.
Yeah.
I think this is where I wish that they would have just put this back where Doc McStuffins and all of them are.
Sure.
And then you could have put like kind of like a mini Toontown like they used to have.
Yeah.
And then you put this ride where the Star Wars launch bay is.
Mhm.
And then you have like you can do your own space. Like I think that the queue stinks. Like I don't think that it translates at all. I think you
No.
left part of like the Chinese theater because that's what the building is, and it doesn't make sense for the story at all anymore.
Yeah, and like the ride doesn't bleed out into the park at all outside of like the marquee, which is like it's like a cool sign. But yeah,
Yeah.
to your point, it's like
You don't.
would be
It doesn't
cool if
look
they were-
animated. Like
you were
it's not like
kind
you're
of
walking into a.
in that world. Because I like that part, like the introduction where you kind of walk into the screen is super cool. I like the beginning with the sort of projection animatronics.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the big thing holding back this ride for me is just some of the rooms are pretty lackluster. The
It's just the
tornado
same
room
one
is-
you went to.
It's just kind of like you're in a warehouse. I don't love the sort of Grand Canyon one where they're on horses. I think it feels like a big
Yeah.
room, and some of them are great. Like the ones where you're underwater, like you can see the framework of the room, but it feels more sort of immersive. And like when you're in the city, it feels great. Like you're obviously in like a big room, but it kind of feels like you're on city streets, where some of the rooms just don't reach that level. And I think it kind of holds it back from being like going from like really, really good to great, next level.
I'm excited for
top of the
Disneyland.
top, stuff like that. Yeah.
Same.
True, yeah, Disneyland. Yeah, I feel like there's like I give this one like a pretty high score still because like I feel like it's very Disney. Like whenever I ride that ride,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is like so Disney. Like I feel like, and it's like nice that it's like everyone can enjoy it. Like kids to adults can like all enjoy it, and it's like fun. I don't even know what really I would change. Like all the things that you kind of talked about of like Toontown and more of like an immersive experience. But I still feel like there's still parts of the ride that like I would change. I don't know what I would change them to, but like it feels like there could be like improvements. But I still have
Yeah.
like so much fun on it.
Yeah, like, and I think after knowing that about like the tornado thing, it's like, oh, like you
Yeah.
do look at it and go, oh yeah, like it's a black room with like a tornado, but originally it's because it was just going to be like the gateway room to get you somewhere else. Who knows kind of what that would have been, which I
Yeah.
think would have maybe been cool. But I do like agree kind of with like what Tommy said about like the rooms kind of just being big open rooms, kind of like we said about like the Little Mermaid ride, where like you fully know that you're in some room, whereas other ones kind of hide that better than others, which I would agree with for
Well,
sure.
like the one time when we were on it and the ride like broke down
Stopped,
or whatever,
yeah.
then like you really notice it. You're
You're
like,
like,
what is
oh.
this?
Yeah.
And I think that Remy's is super similar, where it is a lot of big rooms, but you don't notice you're just in a lot of big
Yeah.
rooms. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
more set in Remy's than there is in this,
For
and
sure.
it needs more.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, next up is a Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
50.
84.
65.
50.
I get sick on this one.
This one for me, I think, is another thing that's very dependent on the role.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that my ranking would change based on what I got or the people that I'm in the actual ride with. But Tommy, why is this one kind of higher for
Yeah, I probably went a little high. I think a lot of what I really enjoy about it is the lead up to the actual ride, which like
True.
isn't a great sort of it's not a great sign for the ride itself. But I think all the queuing is great, like the Hondo Ohnaka thing, like kind of an obscure
I
character,
agree.
but I think there is some merit in it just being a cool alien animatronic. Even if you don't know who that character is, you're like, oh wow,
It
there's
looks
like
like a real thing.
there's a weird
Yeah.
pirate man with like tentacles coming out of his head. That's pretty cool. It feels really Star Wars. You get to like be inside of the ship is cool. I think the loading unloading process is cool. Yeah, I think if you're a pilot, I'm sure that it's a lot of fun. I don't think I've done that, but I think if you, like you mentioned, if you're one of the other roles, you're kind of just like watching like a
You're just
movie.
clicking a button.
Yeah, you're just like, it doesn't feel like you're really flying. So that's why I said I feel like I kind of went a little bit too high with an 84, but I do still think there's a lot of fun to be had. And if you're like a big Star Wars head, I could see you kind of just like totally not even noticing any of that and being like, wow, that was really cool. But yeah, I think the more you ride it as well, you're kind of just like, oh, I don't love the ride itself, but everything else around it, like the drapings are really, really nice, I think.
Yeah. I feel like this ride has like a lot of potential that like if you kind of fit all those categories, like you are a Star Wars fan and like you do get the pilot role and you are with people who like maybe your entire family is going, like I feel like that would be like an ultimate experience. And I can see how someone would be like, oh my gosh, like that was so amazing and I really, really love it. But as someone like who's not really into Star Wars and like if I don't get the pilot, then I'm kind of just like, it just feels like you're just sitting there and you're just kind of like watching someone play a video game. Like that's what it feels like. You know, like, oh, cool.
And like I don't know like if this was with you or with other people, but we had one time where this like mom and son were the pilots. And the mom was like
yelling.
yelling, like, and he goes, "Would you stop yelling at me?" And it's like, this is just we're not on the Millennium Falcon right now flying. We were on something else because this is just, and it was like they were horrible, which is fine because it's hard to do,
Right.
but like it just kind of takes away from the experience when it's people arguing and yelling. Like you said, I think that's more fun if it's just people that you know and you can kind of joke. Like I know that you flew it with like Haley, and it was like, what are you guys doing? Like crashing up there and stuff. But I just which is fun.
But I do think that the lead up is better because I agree. I think the pre-show is so good. I think like looking at the Millennium Falcon before you walk on is like really cool. But the ride,
I went too high. I was wined and dined by the sort of the look of it. It's definitely not that good of a ride, but I think there is some great stuff in there. I think, like Heidi mentioned, it has a lot of potential and it could be really cool. It just doesn't live up to it, unfortunately.
Now moving on to something that, again, this group of characters people love. Not too sure if they like this, but Muppet Vision 3D.
38.
38. I'm gonna go like 74.
I'll go 70.
60.
If I never did this again, I don't think I would be disappointed.
I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm like not like a huge Muppets fan like some people, but like I feel like when I go, like it's funny and I have like a fun time, and there's certain points in the show where I'm like really laughing. I don't know.
I think it has a lot of like charm. I love like the Statler and Waldorf up there make their joke about like the goofy mask every time. I will laugh. I also just realized this last trip when like Miss Piggy sings her number and then gets pulled by a jet ski thing. So funny to me. There's like little aspects that I like. I do think it's probably like obviously way outdated and all these kind of things, but I think for what it is, I think that it's great. I know that people love like this group of characters, but I don't really know what else they can do, I guess, and this is kind of what it is for the foreseeable future.
I think I am resentful to the ride a little bit because it takes up so much space in the park that I don't think it should. I think that I look at it and I'm like, if I could get rid of that ride to have something new in this entire space, then I would do it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a Muppets head either. I think that space in general could be better used, especially kind of the surrounding areas. But I think, like it was mentioned, it does have a good amount of charm, and there's just some bits and bobs that pop up, like an ode to all countries, but mostly America. Is just like a perfectly constructed sentence to like get a chuckle out of me every single time. So kind of stuff like that. But the rest of it, I'm kind of like, all right, I'll go over this. All the stuff with like Beaker, I'm like, I don't really.
And I like Animal, that he's like
Animal's
live
funny,
and in the crowd or whatever. But
That's fun.
He comes out for 2 seconds, shines a flashlight, and then he's over there. That's the gig. But I also was going to say that like people online who love these guys, they always want to find a way to keep these guys around, but also like expand. So I remember when it was like people wanted to change like Rock and Roller Coaster to something else. People wanted to be changed to some like Muppets.
That doesn't
Disney
even make
Plus
sense.
show. And then it was like, we'll move the Muppets over to Lightning McQueen. We'll move Launch Bay to where Muppets was. So it's all Star Wars. And we'll just kind of move everything around. And it's like, this just seems way too difficult.
We could
but also
That's how real estate works.
But we could move Muppets to Launch Bay. I think that's fair. And then just move Muppets to Lightning McQueen and then just make it a little Cars area.
Yeah, maybe
that whole way back. And then you can just get rid of Launch Bay. Who cares about Launch Bay?
Yeah, who says no?
I'm with you. People love Launch Bay.
For what?
It's a big building. Well, because you can meet characters and it's like a Star Wars museum, but I don't know. For me, I'm like, it's a lot of real estate. Speaking of real estate that we can
If you want to go to a museum, go to the Smithsonian. Nerd.
Yeah, they probably have stuff in there.
True. Next up is one that's way more like higher up on people's level of excitement is Slinky Dog Dash.
87.
Yeah, 87. That sounds right.
85.
85.
Nice.
Ooh,
In
look
sync
at that
over there.
agreement.
In sync. Super good one.
Yeah.
It's super good. Sometimes I wish like there was more of a thrill to it. Like I will admit, like I think it's the perfect coaster for there, and I think it's like perfect for kids. But sometimes when I'm on it, I'm like, I wish like it would just go like, I don't know, like give you a little bit more of like a like thrilling ride. It kind of just feels like smooth and like fun and like almost like you're going through the motions when you're on it. But it's fun. Like, I love it, and I still rate it high.
My only gripe with this is I wish I could do it more often, but the line is so long that we do it like one time, like maybe a trip or once a day at that. But I do wish like that I could do it during the day, but it's just the queue's so hot and like we never do. So this is our kind of like slinking like there you go, pun intended, like at the end of the night. But now because I like to do Phantasmic, I never do Slinky Dog at night anymore. So it's kind of a tough thing where like I don't do it as often as I would like to.
And I don't think it's worth a paid lightning lane.
That's the
No.
thing too. I agree.
If it were like virtual queue or just a lightning lane, I think it's worth it, but I would not pay to go on it.
Yeah.
But I think it's made on purpose, Heidi, to be like that because
I
it does have to be
know.
accessible to kids.
I know, and
So,
that's why.
but
I'm
I
like,
agree.
It's still high, but like for my own personal.
Heidi
enjoyment.
wants him to really turn on the jets. Andy just put like one of those
It's like-
things in Fast and Furious on
Just
the end.
wants
and-
Incredicoaster just as
Uncorks
Slinky
it.
Dog.
Exactly, that's what I want.
No, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think if it wasn't for, sort of all the stuff around the coaster, like if it was just the track and it was just like a normal car, I think it'd be like a 71 for me. It'd still be like
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like riding on Slinky Dog's back and he's like, wahoo, and like having so much fun. I just like can't help but really enjoy myself on there because I was
Yeah.
going to go a little bit lower, but I feel like it's one of those things where whenever I'm on it, I'm having, just a blast the whole time. So I can't put it too low.
And I think that it hits the IP correctly. Like I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
the fact, like even looking at it as just a spectacle instead of a ride, I think it gives it at least 60 points.
Yeah.
And then you only need a couple more to get it up to like 80, 85.
Yeah, it definitely adds a ton to Toy Story Land, like having it running in the background the whole time. I think it adds
And
a lot.
Jesse and Rex up there.
Yeah. It's just like the perfect kind of like middle centerpiece of a land. It's so good. It's great. Next up is we're kind of moving back to the Star Wars area. For Star Tours, the adventure continues.
12.
I gave Millennium Falcon an 84, so I'm giving this an 85 because I think it's better than Millennium Falcon.
I'm also going 85 on this one.
30.
What? This is
Sorry.
this is my like
It's
I
your
have my
darling.
yes, I
You
have
used
my
to not
Come away
like
from home.
yes,
To be
frequent
fa-
flyer.
To be fair,
That's true. I like
honest.
so this is my story with this one. I've had like a total shift into loving this. I remember we did this on our trip in 2022 getting engaged and I sat
Yeah,
in the
you
seat
hated it.
and the door closed and sometimes when you get that feeling where you're just like instantly like this heat comes over you and you're like my whole body is warm, I'm sweating, I'm uncomfortable, I don't want to be here anymore. That's what I felt and I was like I could never do that again. And now because of my program, it was like the only thing at that park that had no wait. I did it so often that I love it so much. I think it's so good. The like you can rewrite it and see different things. Although a lot of times I got like the same kind of scenes, but I do think that there is like a lot of good things about it, even though it is just like a simulating ride.
Yeah, I do like how they change up the scenes and like it's rewritable. Like I feel like I didn't know that before until like you
Right.
told me that and we like went on it and stuff. And like I appreciate that. I'm just not much of like a sit in a screen and just like jostle around like a whatever those 40 movies. Like
Yeah,
that's why I don't know.
That's fair.
It's just not my favorite.
I can't ride it. It makes me super sick. So I gave it 12 just because everybody else likes it. But
You
really,
should've-
it's a
yeah, you
zero for
should've
me.
given it a zero.
But
Yeah,
I don't think
definitely
it's a zero.
for
I
you.
think that like, I think it's cool that like they worked, like George Lucas worked on it with them. Like, I think it's a cool concept. I
Yeah.
like the fact that you can do different things. Well, you literally, I can't do different things, but other people can do different things. And I get to go shopping while you guys ride it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no,
Or
I
to
think,
Baseline Tap House while you
Yeah.
guys ride it.
I think it really nails part of what Galaxy's Edge doesn't quite like the itch that it doesn't quite scratch is that it's just like mashed up stuff from all over Star Wars. And like
Right.
you get on and you're gonna get like whatever 3 or 4 sequences from who knows what all across the movies, and it's kind of just like the greatest hits of the movies, which I think is really, really unique and valuable. And I get why people don't like it. But for that reason alone, being able to hop on and be, you get a little bit from, the sequel trilogy. You get Naboo from Phantom Menace. Like, oh, there's Jar Jar Binks. Cool. Like
He's
you're
the
hanging out with
best.
C-3PO. Like I think there's a lot to like, especially if you're into those movies. I think it's like the best way to kind of experience those in an immersive setting, at least for like
Yeah.
all of them.
And I also think what's cool about this, which I learned because I knew someone that worked there, was that like a few of the scenes have like an alternate version where if you get it, it's like more rare. And one of them is when Jar Jar Binks or like one of those whatever he is like swims at you. sometimes he'll just wave, but other times you'll actually hit him and run into him. And that's like a more rare thing that happens. Like if you get that, it's like a rare sequence, which I think is cool. Like it kind of adds that. And I love the pre-show. The pre-show is so 90s of like the Chewbacca going to sit there, the kid takes the picture and he like does like this after. Like I think that's so good, so funny. So this is one that I just have to do. I love it. Why are you laughing at me?
Nothing.
It's great.
You really like it.
Because it's great. Next up is another Star Wars ride, and that is Star Wars Rise of the Resistance.
90.
95.
90.
95.
Whoa.
Wow, I'm stunned by that.
I don't truly feel that for myself, but I feel like I have to put respect on its name of like it is an really exceptional ride. So I can't like vote based on my like conscious of like how I like I don't know. So I'm giving it a 95. The reason that it could be improved is because of that is a Kylo Ren.
Yeah, some stuff just doesn't work sometimes.
When it doesn't work, and like it mostly for me has like worked like I think twice in total, and I've ridden it like a lot of times. Like that's just unfortunate.
When you get a perfect ride through, it's close to 100. But when any piece of it's missing, like sometimes Rey doesn't work, and that's a huge part, and then it opens up to that room, which then is lackluster because you didn't get like the first part. Yeah. But I think that the thought that went into it, the first time I rode this, it was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like the scale of everything is just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the fact that it feels like the ride starts before you even get to the hangar with the stormtroopers is like so unique, and like you're like on the ride, quote unquote, before you even kind of get to like the marquee piece of the queue almost. So I like that it's segmented, and I think start to finish, it's so unique and unlike anything else, just because there are so many different phases of it, and it's such like an effective way of sort of like shuffling you through the queuing to get onto the ride vehicle, where the first half of the queue, once you kind of get past that pre-show with Rey, it still feels engaging and like a ride, and it doesn't feel like you're waiting as much as something else might.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those like for me where I wish, like I said for Slinky Dog, that I did do this more often, because every time that I do, I'm like, wow, this is actually like if you're like a big Star Wars person, like I know that when my dad comes down to visit on my program, he is gonna love this. It's just gonna be insane to him to see that. Like, and I think that like after knowing that this is possible, I think it like if you know that this is kind of the same as Guardians, where now that you know this is possible, it's like, what else can we do this with? Yeah, right. Like if there was this type of ride for like a Marvel thing, it would be so cool. Like it would just be like, this is like breaking the mold of what we can do, which is amazing.
And I think that this is what Hollywood studios should be, where you have the cast members like actors, like they are, like you are in the movies, which I think is what Hollywood studios, like that's what is missing with the Great Movie Ride or whatever, because you got to go into the movie, and that's what you get to do here. And I wish they did that on like at least one ride in every land, where it was really so immersive that like the cast members here, like they kind of treat you like sternly, and they're like very serious, and they call like your phone or your tablet or whatever it's called. So they like, I think that fits Hollywood studios so well, and I wish it was done more often.
Yeah, I agree. Next up on our list is Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith.
86.
78.
80.
0.
What?
0?
Wow.
You wanted adventure and launching from
I know,
Slinky Dog?
But I just think
you can't say 0.
0. This Carousel of Progress for Heidi, the same.
Wow.
That's
I don't
crazy.
like Rock and Roller Coaster.
Wow.
I thought about that for a long time, and
now you're finally saying it. Wow.
I wanted to get it off my chest.
But 0 is like a get it out of here. Wow.
To get out.
How can you ask for more from Slinky Dog Dash and then get more at Rock and Roller Coaster and go get it out?
Rock and Roller Coaster to me just feels like an outdated like roller coaster that like gives me a headache and is not like doesn't feel like a Disney ride. It feels like I'm going to Canada's Wonderland. Like that's how I'm gonna be honest.
Wow. I don't know. Like I love this one.
I don't
as well.
Agree with that one bit.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
No, I just like I think that it could use a retheming because who cares about Aerosmith anymore? But I think the ride itself is awesome. I think that like how fast it goes, the loops, like it's the only time you're going upside down.
Yeah.
Like I think I don't know. I love it. I would go every single time as long as it was working and I didn't have an hour wait.
Yeah, I would definitely always ride it, but I think once I'm past the corkscrew, I'm over it. I think like the launch is fun, and then you do the corkscrew and you go upside down, and then after that, I'm kind of like, all right, like it doesn't do a ton for me. I don't care about the.
But then you're
Aerosmith
done. It's
theming
quick.
as much. It is, and it's too. Well, that's another thing. It's too short. It's too short, so
But
I'm
you
kind of
want it to
over
be
it
done.
earlier. But then it's But I
So
would
you
like
get what you want.
I would like more good things, not just a little bit more of not so good things. I
Hmm.
think that I don't. That's a bad compromise. I think.
You're a hater.
Yeah, I want it to be over, so it's over. No, I don't like that one. I don't like that.
That's what you asked for. You said
No.
once the corkscrew is done, I want it to be done, and then it is done, and now you're mad.
No, but I would like it. I would like to not want it to be done after the corkscrew.
Well,
If
you
I
can't
did
have
the
your cake and eat it
corkscrew
too.
and
It's
then
already
I
built.
also enjoyed more of the ride. That would be ideal, I think.
Oh well.
I also want to say that if Tommy's a hater, then what's Heidi?
A big hater.
Heidi is like, I don't even know
I'm
what you
over
are.
it.
That
The
is
cork-
that's
the launch
such a
in the corkscrew is worth
crazy.
78 points, I guess, in my brain.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
I don't know. I just feel
interesting.
that way about it. I don't like Rock and Roller Coaster. People really like it. I just don't feel like it fits, and that's it.
It's okay. Speak your truth, Heidi.
I'll speak
Well,
my
it's
truth.
through Hollywood.
I
It
know.
literally fits.
I know, but like the rest of Hollywood studios doesn't feel like Hollywood to me.
So yours.
So the rest of the park doesn't fit, and only Rock and Roller Coaster fits.
So get the one that fits out of here.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
That's okay.
I'm just speaking from my gut. This is what
No,
we're talking about.
you have to.
That's what
So we'll
Speak your
never
truth, Heidi.
we'll never do it again. I'm so
I mean,
sad.
yeah. I mean, yeah. It would be
No, Heidi can go on
Cruel and
Lightning
unusual
McQueen. We'll
punishment.
go on.
Yeah.
True. Or she'll drink her little, like she
I'll
likes
have my
that Coke, that
yeah,
rum and
for
Coke
that.
slush
Oh, yeah.
that's back there.
I'll just sit there and drink that while you guys go on it. That's fine.
I love it. Like, and I also think that it's a
Mm.
cool thing where like it goes so fast, like at the launch. It's like insane. Like you got to keep that head back or it's gonna be stuck forward or you're gonna get rocked backwards. I love it. Next up is gonna be Toy Story Mania
98.
90.
90.
90.
I love this ride.
Go
It's a
for
good
it.
ride.
I
Your highest
think
one?
it's so fun. I think
Yeah.
that it harbors healthy competition, but it's a workout. It's like actually
yeah.
hard. My forearm hurts when I'm finished, but I think it's so fun. I think that it's long enough. I think that you get to like, I don't know, it's different than anything else in the parks.
Yeah.
I love it. I want to go every single time.
Yeah, it's definitely super unique, and I always have a fun time on it. I feel like I never like am looking like super forward to it. It's not something I'm
'Cause
like,
I beat him.
oh, like can't. Not even true. Check the
Mhm,
tapes. Check the tapes.
mhm.
I feel like I'm never like waking up in the morning being like, oh, sweet Hollywood Studios Day. Can't
Oh,
wait to
I
get
do.
on Toy Story Mania. But I always have a fun time, so I think it's a good time.
Yeah, I agree. It's exact same thing that you said, Tommy. Like, if I don't do it like when I go on a trip, like I wouldn't be like devastated and everything. But like, I do have a really fun time going on it, and the competition gets very heated, and I get very into it. So
I will say that every time after we do this, Heidi kind
I
of
have
is a
like
bit
bit of
upset.
I have
She
like a bit
she
of-
has a moment like walking out of the
I
queue
have to
where
check
she is
myself.
she's actually genuinely like
Well,
like
if I lose, which is
If she
bad.
loses, yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say not when she
Whatever.
wins.
When you're playing,
And
you
then
go
I-
to a different zone. Yeah.
yeah. And then I go like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "I'm fine." And it's like, okay, but like actually though, because like we just had a great time on this ride.
No, you know why I'm fine? It's because afterwards Brandon like really gets into it, and like I go like, "Oh, good job," and he's screaming with his. I literally have videos. You can go watch videos. He goes, "Whoa! Like winner!" And I'm just like, "Good job!" Like
Because
work.
that time that I yelled because I was losing, and then we got to the alien room, and it was like, let him cook. I
a
was
little
just
bit of a
like,
sore winner.
I was going for it, and then I was like I remember that I did it, and I like
You
looked
turned
over
around
at you,
and screamed
and-
at me.
and I said, "Yeah," and then Heidi just looked so upset. I was like, "Okay, I need to like tone this down."
And it's always because you kept taking the seat that you want to be
That's
in.
not
And the
even
one
true.
time that I took the other seat, I did win. So that's
Heidi
true.
thinks that you have to sit on one of the sides
You
with
do.
whatever it is, and that's how you win. It's
You
not
have a
true.
greater chance. Anyhow,
I've won from both, so
Yeah. The
There you
alien
go.
room is the turning point though. I'm always down like 50,000 points going
oh,
to
the
alien.
rings.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
we come
it's
out of
so
the ring
hard.
toss and we're neck and neck, and then it's just.
But
a battle
then
from there.
we get to the room where it's like the mines where you just have to hammer it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just it's straight like strength. You're
Yeah.
just volume shooting.
Yeah.
It's because I get so fired up every time, like on that one with like the rings when you hear ooh, because they're like spinning around and I'm just like
The
slinging
little
for
rocket
it.
ones, they shoot up
Yeah.
in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
definitely
good.
satisfying.
Well, he always gets mad because my accuracy is trash, but I win a lot of the time.
No, it's pretty equal. I don't know why you act like you
No.
kick my butt at
I
Toy Story
do.
Mini. No, I was on like a 5-ride
Mm-mm.
winning streak.
Oh,
There
he was on a
a
heater.
period of time where you couldn't buy a win, and you recently got back on top. So yeah, I
That's
don't
not
wanna
in
hear
my memory.
This is fake news,
I
but
don't know.
I think that a good thing that we'll have to do, since we're going to Disneyland for quite a long time, is we'll have to ride it and just keep a tally,
Mhm.
yeah,
and then see that like we'll have
We'll
like
make
a
like
champ.
a
official
like a
count.
champion belt.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like the heavyweight
Seriously.
champion
High
belt for
score,
Toy Story
high score
Mania.
retains it. Yeah.
I'm all for it because I
That'd
think
be
it's a
fun.
really, really fun one. I love that one so much. Next up, I'm not going to end with the one that it says to end with on the list because I don't really know if this last one here is actually an attraction. But we're going to do Vacation Fun, an original animated short starring Mickey and Minnie.
I don't know, 50.
6.
10.
2.
I like the shorts. I can't give it.
I
It was
do
so
too.
hot in that theater the one time we did
I don't
it.
even
It was
remember.
so hot. It was so uncomfortable. It was like it like felt humid in the
No.
theater. and I
Maybe
hated-
mine's
I hated
like
every
a
second
10.
of it. And I like the short, but I hated every second of the experience. I'll watch it at home. I'm not watching it there.
I couldn't remember it, and so I have to change my score because now that I remember,
No,
I would
think
never
you-
ever
I
do
think
that
you
again.
Trauma repressed it. You were so
I'm-
uncomfortable. You hated it. You had a horrible time too. We were miserable.
I'm only down on this because I wish it was like an actual real like original short. Like they just like spliced a bunch of like they're like traveling shorts. Hopefully this isn't Moana 2, what they do that's original. But they just kind of put everything together and it's like this idea that they're going on vacation. And I like how at the end they end up at Disney World is awesome. But I wish that it was like an original short, maybe of them actually going to Disney World, like I don't know, something cool. Yeah, would have been better, I think.
Is that where like the potato
Potato
land
land when you
yeah,
leave,
good
yeah.
thing I said 2 because I like that part of it.
So you would have did 0. I just think what's hard about here is like everything that they put here doesn't do well. So it's kind of just
Yeah.
like a dead space little theater. But like I said, like if you did put some original thing, maybe it would do better, but probably not even. So I don't know.
Yeah, if it was unique, I think to your point, I think if it was unique to the park, I might be inclined to go in there just out of the novelty of it.
Or if you fix the HVAC.
Yeah. Or if you made the
I would go
area
in and watch
more
a short
pleasant.
at Hollywood Studio because it's so hot. It's so crowded.
No,
I would go in but you sweat. It's a sauna.
We thought we were escaping the heat and we were like doing this veteran move and gonna get some air conditioning and a sit
terrible.
down and we were just like
It's like musty.
it was awful.
It's
Yeah,
horrible.
it was awful.
Haley and Tommy were like, "We're hot. Look at everybody else hot. We're gonna go watch the shorts."
Yeah, these suckers
We
are
should have
doing
looked at the exit, watched
yeah.
everybody drenched in
These
sweat
idiots
coming
in the
out.
sun. I'm gonna go watch a Mickey Mouse short and some air conditioning.
It
have
was
a lovely
terrible.
time,
And
but
you're,
it
like,
was-
locked
it was
in, like, you can't
terrible.
leave.
Oh yeah,
No. They're like,
Yeah,
leave
it
it to
was
the
awful.
professionals. This is our hack. Go
We
watch
really
the
thought, yeah,
Mm.
egg on our face. We thought.
Well, we'll kind of transition, I guess, to Walt Disney Presents, which maybe isn't a full attraction, but is an attraction. So, what do you guys think?
50.
45.
I'll say 40.
Yeah, 50. Putting again.
I like it enough.
Some respect on.
They do trailers at the end sometimes,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
cool. We
And
saw
speaking of
videos
AC,
Oh, yeah.
cool like that.
This is the coldest AC that I've ever felt in my life on property.
They have to
And
And
preserve all the
Sully
stuff
meets
in
there
yeah.
sometimes, which is fun.
That's true.
I think that it's like a cool thing. Like I do like how you can see like the new things that are coming. Like,
Mhm.
like
Like
I don't know if
I
they
guess the
still do
treasure will
that.
be in there now. 'Cause
Exactly,
The Wish was
like-
in there before.
Yeah, like I do like that. I do like if they're kind of showing like a theater. Like I didn't go meet her, but people loved meeting like the live action
Oh, yeah.
Ariel was in there,
Mhm.
which was cool. So I think that like it is a good little space. Again, I don't know how much that you can do there otherwise. Like it's kind of just a building with like a walkway. Yeah, so I think for what it is, it's good, but like it's not something that we even like daily or often like do it.
I like seeing the old like blueprint kind of things, like
Yeah.
the models of how the park was like originally supposed to look or how it did look.
Yeah,
Is that
it
it?
feels like something that should exist somewhere in the parks.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. I'm not
Just
in
put
love
the
with-
Star Wars stuff in there too and get rid of Launch Bay.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm with it. And
There
again,
you go.
they couldn't like tear down that Little Mermaid theater because it's attached to Walt Disney Presents, and now they're bringing the show back. So
Oh gosh.
who knows? But to end off, we're ending off with the banger. If you've been waiting for
Mhm.
this one, the Hollywood Tower Hotel, the Tower of Terror.
80.
91.
100.
100.
Wow.
Wow.
The reason I'm saying 100, and again, have not done Mission Breakout, but for this version, there's nothing I would change about it. The queue is perfect. I know that Haley is a hater of the boiler room. That's
I
fine.
hate the boiler
I hate the
room.
boiler room too.
But I love the idea of like that you stand there and you kind of wait to load there. And I just love
Stand and stand and stand.
no, I'm saying I love the idea like that you stand there like on the numbers and you can see it come down and then it opens up. And I like how like the cast members involved. I love how it's like a different sequence. I love just everything about it. I think like it's on point and it's just perfect to me. And it's probably maybe going to be my only 100. I think maybe of any ranking potentially that we're going to do. It's just so good to me.
Wow. Okay. Well, I also said 100.
Wow.
Then why are you shocked?
Because you said it's your only 100.
Yeah, which we'll get to.
Anyhow, that's shocking. So I love this ride. Again, there's nothing I would change. I love it so much. It's scary. Every single time I'm in the line, I get scared and I'm like nervous and then going under and then yeah, like it's so fun. I just have so much fun on it. There's nothing I would change.
This
Yeah.
is a must-do lightning lane for me.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting in that queue. Ever. I don't think. Unless it's like a walk-on.
Yeah, the line. Yeah, the
Sure.
queue definitely feels long sometimes. Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. It's like I like a drop ride. I think it's the only one, so it's unique to sort of itself in Walt Disney World. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe some of the connective tissue would like if it was a little bit less like just vaguely Twilight Zone. I get that it is like the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, but I think if it was more specific to the story that they introduced in the pre-show, and there's like a little bit more connective tissue there, I think that would be kind of cool instead of just like a big blinking eyeball and a door.
Yeah, the E equals MC squared or whatever.
Like, it's like fun and it's very Twilight Zone, but I just like through all that, I kind of just like, oh, I wish this was a little bit cooler. But the sort of, the main course, the drop itself is great. It's great during the day. It's great at night. The unique sequencing, always a good time. So
I think when I ride with you guys, this one goes up a little bit for me. I think it's like, I don't know that we've ridden this without you guys since we went to the park with you guys for the first time.
Probably not.
That's amazing. This is like our thing because I was watching some old vlogs last night and I did some research to see how many times that you and Heidi both have the camera out together.
Oh yeah, we cackle the whole time.
Every single time. It's just this and then it's like you look at each other, laugh and look back at the camera. And it's so funny to me. And I just love riding this with people who have never done it. I think is good when there's like the people that are way in the back that have never done this.
The people who bring their kids on.
Yeah, like it's just
no clue.
It's so funny.
My dad is like a huge fraidy cat. Sorry, Dad, but he is like a scaredy cat. Like would not go in anything. I told him it was like a haunted house, like a dark ride. Like you just go through. And so we have a picture, and I don't know. I was like in college. He's like holding on to my arm, like big forearm, like he calls it a 5-arm, like all like tensed and like strong in the thing, and just terrified. And he was like, "I can never trust you about anything ever again. Like you told me this was a haunted house." It's like
that's so funny.
It's
so
just
he would
so
have been
good.
one of the people that you enjoyed on that ride.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go. So that's going to be all of our rankings for Hollywood Studios. I feel like that, like our highest ones were kind of maybe Fantasmic and some other ones, like maybe like some Toy Story things. But we'll kind of do like we said last time. We're going to have to compile our list of our maybe top 3 at this park and bottom 3 because there isn't as many.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that it'll be our highest ranked park.
I skewed super high today. Yeah.
I agree. Like, I think like in terms of the other ones, even if there isn't as many, I think there are very good quality things. And I'm interested to see because again, some other parks have heavy hitters, but then maybe some that we're not going to like as much potentially. So I think that might kind of weigh down. And that's why like people maybe are thinking that there's one that I might have given 100 to, and maybe we'll get there later. we'll get there. But I just think that this has like a lot of good stuff. And I know people kind of don't maybe love how like the park all kind of flows all together, but I still do think there are super great things there that I always love to do. And this is like my favorite home away from home because I work there. So I'm always going to have a little special place for it.
Yeah.
But it was fun. So yeah, this was our episode ranking Hollywood Studios and chatting about some Disney news. You can catch us next week here, like as always, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or on YouTube at the Park Squad Pod. You can follow us over on Instagram. You can also, like Tommy says every time, you can complain only if you follow or subscribe or listen or like
Those are
rate
the
and
rules.
stuff. Then you can say that we stink at ranking stuff. Now 2 episodes in a row, we've been horrible, whatever that you want to say. But we'll leave like a little box here. You can let us know maybe your favorite attraction here that's at Hollywood Studios. Like I'll leave it on the Spotify, a little Q&A box, and be sure to give us like a 5-star rating on there. Give us a little review. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube, and go over to Instagram and give us a follow there as well. And become part of the squad, because we'd love to have you and we appreciate it so much. So thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in a week from today.
See you
Bye.
later.
Bye.